That's correct.
Well,
That
what's
was
going on, y'all? It is time to breathe again on the Breath of Fresh Air
mm,
webcast. You see Patrick with me, and we're ready to get on this show. So I dropped the little bit of news to Patrick just now, which is why he kind of had the shock look on his face. And once we get into the topic, then you'll know why. So, Patrick, before we get to that, though, let's talk about our review and preview of college football, starting with the review. What caught your eye from these games last weekend?
well, as you know, this is part of the season where all the teams either play cupcakes or they're just like really kind of finishing up their own conference play. And as you know, there's uh there's really only one game in particular that really was just like holy jamoly. I cannot believe that kind of happened. Um, and well, actually, there was two games. So I'm going to start with Alabama, Arkansas, and this game was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I kind of expected Alabama to not necessarily run away with it. I mean, I felt Arkansas was a good enough team to um, stay with them for a time. But man, let me tell you, this is two things right here that showed me that was just absolutely relevant, and I don't know if Nick Saban has the personnel to fix it. That is, well, one, he doesn't have to fix it. It's a good problem to have. They can score almost on every play. They can. Their offense is really good. It clicks really well. Bryce Young really runs that offense very well. Really good for his age, and what is he, a freshman?
Yeah.
He runs it really good for first time running the offense, and they score a lot, right? Problem is they give up a lot of points. Um, that defense, that secondary, man, I just don't think Nick Saban has the personnel to fix it. He gets a lot out of his players, and they're able to hold teams to less than what Alabama's offense can score. But man, that defense is lacking. They have tendencies to show up on some plays, and they have tendencies to take the play off. And most of the time, when they take the play off, the opposing team puts up seven. I mean, like it's crazy. Like you can almost tell when they're about ready to take the play off, and the other team scores. It's almost like what am I trying to say? It's almost like it's a given. Almost, it's like when they take that play off, the other team scores, and that is what I saw with Arkansas. Arkansas did not score at will, but when they took the play off, deep pass, score. Take the play off, a big run play, next play, score. Is just if this Alabama team is really wanting to make an impact in which I feel they still will. But they got to get that defense under control. Um, that was one game. The other game was Michigan State and Ohio State. What the hell? I mean, Michigan State just got ran out.
And Patrick, I told you that could happen because
Oh,
Michigan
well, we knew it was
State.
going to happen. You said it could happen. Then I think you took your words back and said it was going to happen. I mean, seriously, that was insane. How I mean, just effortlessly scoring play after play after play.
Michigan State's pass defense is the worst in the Big Ten, and with all those receivers,
That's
Ohio
worse than
State has.
FBS. Period.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So FBS, and with Ohio State and those weapons, I tell you, man, if Michigan State could not run the football, which Kenneth Walker, now some of that is play calling. I don't care what that score is; he's got to get more than 6 carries.
Oh yeah,
I get it. I understand you're falling behind quick, and you have to try to make that up. But he's got to get more than 6 carries. He's like a favorite for the Heisman Trophy literally 2 weeks ago, and you don't give him carries. Number two, if Michigan State could not get pressure on Stroud, yeah, dude, You got what you saw.
And he just, I mean, dude, there was one time he had a pocket for almost 10 seconds. I was like, get somebody in there. And they're holding them back. They're holding 8 people back. What? This is what blew my mind on the whole play. Not the fact that he got 10 seconds, the fact that Michigan State, with 7 people rushing him, couldn't get to him. But what threw me off was the fact that he just could not find somebody to throw to. I was like, where the hell is all of the wide receivers? And it took like a running back to come out of the backfield after a block of 4 seconds before he rolls out, and then he's like, oh, boom. And then it was like 60 yards down the field. I was like, dude. I mean, he beat the pressure off of quick passes all day long. It's just, I mean, they just picked him apart. It picked him apart, and when he takes what the defense gives him, which is exactly what he did, the defense was giving up big play after big play after big play after big play. I got tired. I honestly got tired of watching it. I had to go back and watch the highlights because at 28-0 in the second quarter, I was like, God. I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. I'm not sitting here going to. I was bored with the Georgia game after it was 28-0 in the first quarter. You know what I'm saying? I ended up turning both of them off because it was like, I mean, granted, I love my Bulldogs, I do, but you know how I am. I'm a huge defensive play. I like the defense, and unfortunately, both of those teams they just do not have the defense to handle both of those offenses. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I know we got the preview coming up right here in just a minute, but we'll see how Michigan does. At least they got them at Michigan. You know what I mean? A good game that I actually thought was really pretty good was the Nebraska-Wisconsin game. Very clean game. Actually, I was for Nebraska and Wisconsin both to be heavily penalized teams, they actually came out and played that one pretty well, and so I was kind of impressed with that one.
Nebraska still, man, they cannot finish.
They can't finish, man. They did, and you're right, man. I wish they could have. I wish they would have something that would just spark that team for a fourth quarter. Because I mean, they win the first 3 quarters every single game, and then lose the fourth one, and you got to win the fourth one. I mean, you got to win the fourth one. I'm only bringing this game up because of a game I'm fixing to mention here in a minute. Cincinnati beating SMU. I kind of felt that was going to happen, but congratulations to Cincinnati to hold par. Keep holding par, man. Y'all are almost there. You're almost there. The next one I thought it was a really good game. It was a very low scoring. Defenses came out to play on this one. Kansas and Baylor, man. That was interesting because there was a lot of blitzing in that game, which actually would make me exciting.
Kansas State.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Kansas State, Baylor, and Kansas State. But both teams, man, they were just after the quarterback, and that made that game exciting. I was like, I didn't know what to expect from that game. I was like, we'll check it out since I'm really not interested in anything else that's going on. But the highlight of the week, number 3. It's a freaking curse. Utah, boy, they put it on Oregon, dude. Woo!
So, Patrick, real quick. We'll get to that number 3 ranking because based on the new college football playoff rankings, which we'll talk about in a minute, you'll see.
They already come out?
Yeah, they have come out. You'll see who's number 3. We'll get to it in a minute. We will. But
I'm gonna look though. I still gotta look.
But let that on simmer about number 3. So Oregon got destroyed. So Oregon just got totally demolished. I thought that would be a closer game, but man, Utah. Yeah, I mean, Oregon just ran into a buzzsaw, and Utah exposed Oregon for the team. You knew they were heavy on the run, but they really haven't shown a lot of throwing prowess. Utah just stuffed that box and forced Anthony Brown to throw the ball, and he could not do it. And then Utah controlled both sides of the line of scrimmage. Like Utah was just way better than Oregon that night.
Yeah, and on every aspect of the game. I mean, hell, they even sit down on the bench better than Oregon did. I mean, they drank Gatorade better. They laughed better. Every aspect of life.
What did you think of Utah's jerseys?
I liked them.
Yeah, me too. It's kind of funny that Oregon is involved in the game and we're talking about the other team's jerseys, right?
I know, right? But I mean, a lot of people, even I was talking to a lot of Tennessee fans, even when they played Georgia, when they did the black and orange. I personally thought those jerseys were freaking sick.
I think they'd be better if they had black helmets with them, man. I like the jerseys, but wearing a white helmet with it just kind of made it a little wonky to me.
A little bit, but I mean, but you just look at the jersey, man.
This
That was sick, man. And don't get me wrong, I'm SEC, and you'll know this a little bit. Well, you probably already know it, but you'll see it a lot more coming out of Texas and Oklahoma. Is that they'll stick to traditional colors. SEC is very traditional. They stick to their colors that they've had for years, right? And every now and then they'll throw a little thing in there like Tennessee. I like that when they do it. I love the traditional colors. I hope they stick with that. You got your colors for home. You got your colors for away. You don't really go away from those. But man, when they do, those black and oranges were sick, man. I liked them. I wish they would. I agree with you. I wish they would have did a black helmet with the orange tee on it, but I like the jerseys, man. I thought they were sick. But those Utah jerseys were sick too, man. So, but yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. I kind of had a feeling you were going to bring that up because they played Oregon, but I didn't know. So, but yeah, they looked good.
Anything else catch your eye?
That's it.
All right, man. Well, I'll just go kind of off of what you said, man, and then we'll jump into the preview. Yeah, Ohio State destroyed Michigan State. Main thing with that was, again, man, unless Michigan State could control the clock and get some turnovers and get pressure on Stroud, it was going to be ugly, like ugly. And it was 49-0 at the end of the first half. So, so I mean, they were on pace to score almost 100 points, and they just kind of just pulled the dogs off. So really bad. Arkansas and Alabama. So with that one, here's the thing. You mentioned Alabama got to get the defense shored up, man. The thing with them is there's a lot of mental errors. There's a lot of mental errors, a lot of busts and coverages, and they're not tackling as well as you normally see Alabama teams. Yeah. So right now, Alabama is kind of in that stage. It looks like they're just kind of trying to just survive in advance and hold on until they get to this SEC championship game with Georgia, which that's already locked in. Alabama did clinch that spot in the SEC West, so that will be happening. But yeah, Alabama's defense looks really, it's uncharacteristically holy. Little bit. I mean, they've given up some big games. 41 points to A&M, 35 points here to Arkansas. And I mean, Arkansas doesn't have the biggest pass offense, but what's his name? Treylon Burks was destroying Alabama in this game. And so it's going to be one of those things where, yeah, it's, you don't know. You don't know if they can clean it up in time, especially when they start getting into postseason play. So it'll be interesting to see. Oklahoma and Iowa State was an interesting game to me. Iowa State almost pulled that out, man. They almost got Oklahoma and gave them that second loss that you and I said we wouldn't be surprised to see them catch. But whatever, Texas North escaped, as they have been all year. The Oregon-Utah game, yeah, Oregon, well, bottom line now, they're done. They're gone. I mean, they're not going to be getting in the playoff. They got knocked down 8 spots, I think.
Like a 10 or 11. Dude.
Yeah. So they're done. Michigan State's done. You know, they got knocked down 5 spots. I think they're number 12. And
here, I'll pull it up and get the
Yeah, Oregon's 11, Michigan State's 12. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, and so they yeah, you count them out. And then what was the other game? There was something else that you had mentioned. Oh yeah, Baylor and Kansas State. I caught a little bit of that game. Oh, what's going on, Lamont? Yeah, good to see you, man. All right, so Patrick Lamont, I went to school with this dude, man, like high school with this dude.
Oh, y'all go way back.
We go way back, man.
Nice.
And he has a Facebook page that he runs called The Heat Is On Sports Talk too. So check that out.
Wow. You got to get on this. You got to get on this with us, then.
Yeah, man. So man, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in, Lamont. Or I call him Mark. So so hey man, thanks for checking in. I appreciate
Only
it.
thing that's going down is Oregon.
Yeah. Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City is that's a tough place to play for anybody, man. And then off of that, man, yeah. And then Oklahoma State, they're sitting Oklahoma State, they're looking good, and then they'll go into Bedlam, which I guess that's going to be part of the preview. So with that said, before we went on to the preview, did you have anything else to add?
No, that's it.
All right, man. What are you on? And before you start, Patrick, so this week, of course, as you know, is rivalry week. So, so
I call it Civil War week.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Where all your in-state games are right here. I call it Civil War week. But hey, if they want to keep it PC, we'll call it rivalry week.
Whatever. Rivalry week. Yeah, I mean, I guess we don't keep anything else PC on here. So yeah, Civil War week. We'll go with it. Which Civil Wars are you looking forward to?
So let's be completely honest with this week, man. There's a lot of teams that's already out. They just are. So really, there's only really 4, maybe 5 games that you really got to watch. That's it, because it's the only teams that's in. You know what I mean? So we got Georgia Tech. Obviously, we got to watch that one because number 1. I'm gonna go ahead and give the spoiler alert. Number 2, Ohio State leapfrogging Alabama. They got Michigan, so that's going to be an interesting game because that's 2 and 5. Number 3, Alabama's got Auburn, and nobody wants to be number 3 this year. Nobody. And Cincinnati, who do they got? East Carolina. So that's about the only 4 games I'm really going to be watching. I might watch that. I might watch that a little bit of that Notre Dame game and a little bit of the Oklahoma State game. But man, this is it, man. There's really not many games that's going to pique my interest more than the games that's going to put people in the playoffs.
Well, all right. Well, with that, Patrick, so Ohio State and Michigan, I'll go ahead and say this for prediction purposes. This is one of the best chances Michigan and Jim Harbaugh will have to beat Ohio State. I know we said that in 2016. We said that in 2018. Did not go Michigan's way, obviously. They have them coming to Ann Arbor. Michigan's this team, maybe besides I agree with you, Mark. Yes, Harbaugh got to come through. Absolutely, he does.
He doesn't come through. You got to think about firing this guy.
It's the thing, because here's the thing, Patrick. So Michigan, they can get 9 to 10 wins, but they can't beat their rival. Harbaugh has not beaten Ohio State since he's been there, and this year he's got a chance. Michigan has a good team, and you know me, Patrick. I've been sitting back just kind of waiting, not trying to say anything about Michigan. Like, man, they're going to disappoint me. They're going to catch a loss to Purdue or something. But they hung in there. They had the tough loss to Michigan State. They have a good running game. That front has to eat. That defensive front has to eat. Go ahead.
And I agree with you, but I just want to say this one thing, and then you can continue. And by all rights, Michigan should have beat Michigan State. Should have slaughtered them.
They had them down 30-14. Yeah. I mean, they blew that lead. But yes, that defensive line has to eat, because you're probably going to have to mix in a little bit more zone to kind of cover those receivers that Ohio State has. Chris Olave, Wilson, and Smith Najigma, all of them bad boys. Yeah, I'm with you, Mark. Yeah, it doesn't look good for Michigan, but they got them coming at home. That defensive line, if they can eat, because they got to get pressure on Stroud. They have to get him to the ground, and they have to get physical with those receivers, mix up some zones, mix up some man-to-man looks, and control the clock. They have 2 good running backs there at Michigan. So that's how you're going to beat them. Don't try. If Michigan goes in there trying to think they got to match Ohio State score to score, they're not going to do it, and it's going to turn ugly.
Yeah, what happened to Michigan State?
Right.
Now, if that front defense, like you're saying, will go in and do what they're supposed to do and eat,
they gotta eat. Yeah.
If they get pressure with 4 people, Ohio State is in for some trouble, man. Because if they can get pressure with 4 people and they're throwing a zone, Trout can't do crap, dude. And he's proven that. I mean, look at what Oregon did. And granted, I know we're looking at 2 different teams right now from the beginning of the year to the end of the year.
It's how Oregon beat them, though.
That's how Oregon beat them. They got pressure with the front 4, and they left it in zone, and he had nowhere to go except for on the ground. That was it. So, hey, if Michigan pulls that up and gets pressure with 4 and able to run that zone and on the back end, bro, you might see Ohio State take their second loss if they can do that.
Having said all that, and let's see what Mark said. Yeah. I mean, this is an elimination game. I mean, straight up, this Ohio State Michigan game is elimination. Winner stays in, goes to the Big Ten championship. Loser done. Their second loss for each. But having said all that, Patrick, I just can't drive myself to pick Michigan to win. I can't do it. I can't. I'm rooting for it. Trust me.
Oh, bro.
I'm so rooting for
I got the Michigan jersey going right now. I'll pull me out a jersey, and it'd be the only time you'll ever see me put a Michigan logo over a Georgia logo, just so that's how bad I'm rooting for them. But I don't see it happening. Matter of fact, I kind of have a feeling it's going to be a blowout, and Ohio State's going to go into Michigan and probably blow them out. Crazy. I got them 42-7.
42-7. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, hell, they blow out everybody else.
I got it a little closer. I do think Michigan will be pretty expired. No, I say 10-14. I think Ohio State will win by about 10 to 14 points. I'll say maybe 31-20, 34-23, something like that. See, you hear what Mark said? He said if 42-7 happens, he's got to walk home. He cannot drive home. But I think Michigan's going to be pretty inspired, man. But I got Ohio State winning too.
You know what? You know it's bad.
What's that?
It's too bad they're not playing on Ohio State, because if Harbaugh really wants to get that win, he needs to go to Urban Meyer's restaurant and get him some booty.
Stop.
Booty shaking. Everybody in that locker room doing it.
Stop.
Hey, it happened for Jacksonville, and they're good right now.
Man, they got 2 wins. They're not. But it's more than what they had last year. Yeah, they're improving. They're improving. Go to Urban Meyer's restaurant. That is funny though. Maybe that does help them out, I guess.
Hey, but, that's where I'd go.
Alabama and Auburn. So
hey, too bad that ain't being played in Ohio State, Ohio either.
All right, Mark.
At the restaurant.
All right, Mark. Holla at y'all, man. Good to see you on here, man. And like I said, hey, check out his Facebook page, The Heat Is On Sports Talk. If you guys get the chance to check that out. Dude, Alabama and Auburn. So this is, you got the Iron Bowl here. I know. Hey man, hey, I appreciate it, Mark. Come on back over here, man. We do this every Tuesday. Every Tuesday we here. So
check this out. Just like this right here, almost every Tuesday.
Yeah. So Alabama and Auburn. This is a tricky game. Now, Alabama, I looked at, we're going to sneak some Vegas lines in here. So I think they're 19.5-point favorites in this game. I don't think they cover that. I think Auburn, now they're not going to have Bo Nix. They got, all right, man, appreciate it, Mark. That's what's up. And I think they got Finley starting now. I still think Auburn's going to give Alabama a lot of trouble, man, because Alabama's just not looking overly impressive. So I still think Alabama will win the game, but I'm thinking by like a touchdown or 10 points, Patrick. I don't see this being a blowout at all, especially in Jordan Hare.
I don't either. I do think that, like I said, Alabama does give up points, and I think Auburn can score. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I mean, I'm going 37-27, bro. I mean, I like the 10. I was looking at 10 to 14 points too. I don't think Alabama can cover that spread. So if you're gambling, bet against that. All right, what's the over under?
I did not catch the over under. I just caught the point spread. But I
do think if the over under is low enough, I do think they'll probably cover that. But I don't think they'll cover that 19.
I think it's 60 something. You could fact check me on that for sure. But man, I think it's 60 something points.
65 probably. 65.
Yeah.
They don't do whole numbers. They do half numbers.
Yeah.
So let's just say hypothetically it is 65.5. I said 30. I said 37-27. What's that? 50, 60. There you go.
This is 64 points. Well, and then you had mentioned the other games that I guess have playoff implications. Now, Cincinnati, just continue to hold the fort there against East Carolina, and then you have the Bedlam game. I am looking forward to that one because I want to see if Oklahoma State, who we'll get into this in a minute, is now number 7 in the rankings. If they can finally get by Oklahoma, win the Big 12 regular season title, and I think if they do win, they will play Baylor in the Big 12 championship, because what will happen is Oklahoma will have 2 losses in conference, along with Baylor having 2 losses in conference, if they're able to beat Texas Tech. Baylor will get in over Oklahoma because of head-to-head competition.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things. So Oklahoma State, hey, this is your chance. You got them in Stillwater. So this is your chance. Just like with Michigan, what we were talking about earlier, you got them coming up there. Hey, you got them coming to your home field. Oklahoma not looking, well, Oklahoma never looks strong, but they're really not looking strong this year. So you can get Texas North.
Look strong.
Texas North, my bad. Texas North. Speaking of, no, never mind. Of course, he ain't gonna be on there. Ever since Baylor
be on
there.
They took a loss, and normally when they take a loss, he's MIA for 2 months.
Months. So, well, Patrick, with that said, man, let's get into these rankings. So you broke it out. Of course, Georgia's number 1, Ohio State's number 2, Alabama's 3. Cincinnati finally broke through into the top 4, so they're number 4. Of course, they were going to give them the 4th spot, and then Michigan and Notre Dame round out your top 6, and we mentioned Oklahoma State at 7. Here's the big thing with these rankings now, because Oregon got smashed, and because Michigan State's got smashed, the Big 12 winner, particularly if it's Oklahoma State, and I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, Texas North still has a chance here. That puts them in play. Not saying they're going to get a spot, but it puts them in play because you still have games where people are going to get eliminated. Ohio State, Michigan loser, they're going to be gone. If Alabama gets beat by y'all, they're probably going to be gone. Georgia, I think, has claimed their spot. We expect them to beat Georgia Tech, of course. So if they beat Georgia Tech, then they go undefeated through the regular season. I think they get in regardless. Now, like I think they're in the playoff regardless of what happens at the SEC championship.
I agree with that.
And so now there's some teams now, since Oregon got smashed and Michigan State got smashed, that are now in play. And I think those rankings kind of bear that out. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think now there's some teams that are in play. They need some help to get there, but I think they're in play now.
Yeah, and the only game that I'm really like, and this only concerns me about Cincinnati, and obviously we can talk a couple more games as well, but let's just say hypothetically, and we already know how we feel about the game, but let's just say hypothetically, Michigan beats Ohio State. With them being at 2, this changes a lot of things. How far do they drop? Do they drop to 4? Michigan comes in and knocks Cincinnati out.
I think now Cincinnati is good. If they're in that top 4, it's got to be a body of work.
And I understand that it is a 2-loss Ohio State team.
Yeah.
But in my personal opinion, I take them out. I mean, Ohio State drops probably to 6 or 7, personal opinion. But it is a committee, and you know how they are.
Yeah, no, we know it's the Power 5 Invitational, which is already kind of BS anyway, because not everybody from a Power 5 conference that wins the title is not going to get in there. There's going to be one out. So it's already garbage, but they want their Power 5 teams in there. Yeah, they want their Power 5 teams in there. Cincinnati, though, man, they beat East Carolina. Going to see Houston in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. Houston is now a ranked team, and they have 1 loss. So I think if they beat Houston, then that solidifies it for Cincinnati. If they decide to put Ohio State in, hypothetical here, and they have 2 losses, or if Alabama ends up with 2 losses, if they hypothetically put them in, then this committee, which basically I've been kind of saying for years now, they need to be disbanded. That's bad. Like that is awful. That makes absolutely no sense. You might as well bring the poll system back.
Yeah.
If that's what we're going to do.
We're looking at, chances are, and this is kind of where I kind of feel that it's going to go. We're looking at an undefeated Georgia team. We're looking at a 1-loss Ohio State team. We're looking at a 2-loss Alabama, Cincinnati. I mean, who is there to claim that 4th spot is really kind of where you're at. Is it going to be Notre Dame or Oklahoma State? Because I mean, me personally, if Alabama loses to Georgia, I kind of have them out. I mean, a 2-loss SEC team it really shouldn't be in there. And you have to look at Michigan if Michigan beats Ohio State. Now they're a 2-loss team, so they're obviously not going to be in there. I mean, that clears out 2 spots, and really the only teams that you really have coming in would be, and if Michigan does beat Ohio State, obviously they're in. But then you're looking at Georgia, Cincinnati, Michigan, and possibly either Notre Dame or Oklahoma State. So you're really looking at that 4th spot, saying, is it going to be either Notre Dame or Ohio State or Oklahoma State?
And that's the thing, man. That's why it's got to be a body of work. So when you say this as the committee, because I always say this, I always say this, Patrick, I'll say it again just for argument purposes here. The committee, the College Football Playoff Committee, will have you believe they want the 4 best teams in. 4 best teams. That's what they'll tell you. If that is the case, there are going to be some other entities, other aspects that will get ignored or won't have as much stature as it probably should. Strength of
schedule.
schedule is one of those things. Conference championships is another one.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you, let's say they decide to put Notre Dame in there, Notre Dame's strength of schedule, not that strong. They're not even in the conference. I don't care. They're over here. They're playing all these ACC teams, but they're not in the conference. They're still claiming independency. So you're going to put them in over Oklahoma State or even a Texas North team, one loss team, if everything works out that way. To me, that's trash. That's why I think it should be it's a body of work. It is not a lifetime achievement award. And if you put Notre Dame in there, that's a lifetime achievement award.
Yeah, because they got their claim to fame to Rudy.
Yeah.
Rudy. Okay, well, 2022, we're gonna put y'all in the national championship game. Okay, thank you. It's not how it's supposed to work. And I agree with you. And I think that, looking at an overall body of work, to me, I don't think a Notre Dame should be in there. I think the only team that really pulls it from outside of the Power 5 conference is Cincinnati.
Yes, I'm with you, man. And so with that, Patrick, I mean, we'll see. Got 2 more weeks of games left. And you know what I always say too, it'll work out. So with that, man, let's get into the NFL here. And what games caught your eye from excuse me, had a burp. Sorry, public. What caught your eye from last week?
Do I need to say it again?
Yep.
Mac Jones. Jesus, dude. This kid is phenomenal. I like every game, dude. It's just every game. He's
efficient. He's doing what he needs to do.
Crazy efficient. And I know I said I wasn't going to bring them up before I was through out until you brought them up, but I'm only bringing up the Patriots and the fact that defense. If y'all are into fantasy football and stuff like that, that defense scored 34 freaking points.
Yeah, they're the Patriots defense is ball hawks. They get turnovers, man.
So hey, all y'all that said Tampa Brady is the best quarterback and he's probably going to win more Super Bowls than Bill Belichick.
Gotta wait. We'll see.
Wait and see,
but look, Patrick, we knew Belichick was not gonna just chill, dude. He gonna put a team together, and they're here. They're here.
Mac Jones is he's for real, man. He is for real. I'm not putting it out there. I'm not gonna say that he's the GOAT. But boy, I'm gonna tell you, Tom, I want to put another couple of rings on your finger because that kid is coming. Serious, dude. Seems like Buffalo's back off track.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a little bit more in detail.
I figured we would, but yeah. I had to say it.
Yeah, they got blasted. Yeah.
Good
on the Colts though.
Well. Colts pretty good, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I said. Good on the Colts. Colts are coming too.
Well, Cam Newton, bro, you know what? When you score a touchdown and you run back to the middle of the field and you put that on your – come on, dude. Now you just got to put a target on your back. You could have won that game if you didn't have done that crap. God. Man, it's like I want to root for this kid. I really do. I want to root for this guy. I really do. He's an effing idiot, dude. Every time I'm like, dude, okay, there you go. Superman. I even did it last week, dude. I was rooting for the dude. I was rooting for him this week, and then he goes and does that crap. I mean, come on.
I mean, I didn't see nothing too wrong with that myself, but
come on, dude. Don't do that. You're trying to win games. Don't put a target on your back.
Yeah, I mean, look, Patrick, if they don't want him to do that, then they got to stop him from scoring. And then Washington went and won the game. That's what you got to do.
Look, you don't have a problem with it if you win. My coach told me he always told me, he goes, He goes, Patrick, let me tell you something. You can talk all the trash you want to. He said another word, but he said you can talk all the trash you want to, but if you don't back it up on that scoreboard, I'm gonna smack the shit out of you. I'm gonna smack the crap out of you. And then
Well,
I go,
Patrick, hold
I
on.
know, right? Don't even start. Don't.
You know what I'm gonna say too. I was like, Patrick,
That's how I let
dude.
it work
This
with
coming
anyway.
from you. You talk mess even after every loss that you might
I
catch.
do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah. I talk mess when I'm winning. I talk trash when I'm losing. I talk trash after I win. I talk trash after I lose. I talk trash 24 hours a day. But that's just what I do. It's just what I do. But my coach always told me, he's like, you better back it up on the scoreboard. I'm gonna slap the crap out of you. I get slapped a lot. I'm just saying. but I, I don't have look. If you're gonna do it though, try to put a win on it. Try to put a win on it, and. But you know what? I this is probably the reason why I root for this guy. This is probably the reason why I root for this guy, because he's a lot like me.
well, Patrick, hey, what else, man? We gotta go a little.
We gotta roll, don't we?
Yeah.
The San Francisco Jacksonville game, kind of expected San Francisco to win, but they looked really good against that team. That Green Bay Minnesota game was really good. What was the other one? How about Kansas City beating Dallas? Now everybody's like, oh God. They're not making the Super Bowl. They're still number one in their division. Let's calm down.
I'll just say this. I'll just say this, Patrick. Same old sorry ass Cowboys. Just gonna say it. And Dak Prescott, the bullseye's got to be on him now. There's no excuse. You're getting paid like a franchise elite quarterback. You're making $40 million a year now, and I don't want to hear all these excuses, because people want to say, "Oh, Amari Cooper was out. Oh, they lost CeeDee Lamb at halftime." No, look, Aaron Rodgers with the Green Bay Packers went to Arizona without his top 3 receivers on a Thursday night, and they still found a way to win that game. If Dak Prescott is everything everybody says he is, he's got to find a way to win that game. He looked intimidated. I'm gonna say it. He looked intimidated by that environment at Arrowhead Stadium. He did not play loose. He played tentative to me. This is an elite quarterback, right? Still waiting to see it. Oh, one more thing, Patrick. Did not get in the end zone. I'm done.
There you go. Well, I mean, you said it better. You said it better than what I was going to say. All I was going to say, you said he looked intimidated. I said he looked scared.
Yeah,
he was scared. And when I tell you, there was overthrows. He had several of those. He had several underthrows. He had passes behind his wide receivers. A couple of passes, he left his wide receivers out to dry, and then when they caught the ball, they got slammed to the ground. Good, clean hits, not targeting or anything like that. Good, clean, solid. You left your wide receiver out to dry, and you can't do that. You cannot do that against any team. The reason why they're pros, and we criticize a little bit here and there, but every single person on those fields on every single Sunday, and sometimes on Thursdays and sometimes on Mondays, those guys are pros for a reason. They are. And we criticize them a little bit, but man, nobody does it like they do. They're good. And there's a reason why they're on that field. And that's just me being positive in the light of saying, yes, we do criticize them and, oh, yeah, they suck today, or, but that's not comparing that to me or Charles. That's comparing it to the people that's out there on the field in comparison with them. So with that being said, those guys are out there for a reason, and he left his wide receivers out to dry several times, and you can't do that. Eventually, they're going to get hurt. And luckily for him, they didn't, but eventually they will get hurt. And then my last thing, Tom Brady looked pretty good.
All right, man. And we brought up Kansas City. One thing I'll say this about Kansas City, man. They won 19-9. Their defense looked pretty good. And if Kansas City is going to win these other games, I actually like this Kansas City team more than the one that was scoring 41 points and giving up 38.
Yeah,
This
I
is
agree with you because this defense showed up. They stopped a very high-powered offense from getting in the end zone. Three
three
field
field
goals.
goals.
That was it. So congratulations to that team. Like you said, I'd much rather see that Kansas City team because that is a defensive-driven team, and that's what I like to see anyway.
And we mentioned the Colts. The Colts are coming, man. 6-5. Looks like they got things rolling. The defense looks good. Jonathan Taylor, the running back beast, 5 touchdowns he scored in that game. The Packers Vikings game, that was good when I actually got to catch a good part of that one. That was back and forth. Minnesota made the plays for once, give them finally.
Yeah.
And then there was one more. Okay, the Steelers and Chargers game on Sunday night. That was turned out to be a good one. The Steelers came back from 30, like they were down 34-20, and they went and came back and took the lead. And then the Chargers got a long touchdown pass and won that 41-30, 41-37. So one thing I'll say about that game also, Patrick, is that game was a classic example of why everybody is in it in the AFC.
Yeah,
Because they look good, and then boy, ooh, not looking good at times, and it was just such a roller coaster. So that's where I'm at with last week. What are you? Oh, go ahead.
I got one more thing. All for everybody that watches this episode and they look and they think we're crazy because the Colts are 6-5. I want you to remember there was a New York Giants team that was 8-8 3 times, and they did their thing. Just saying.
And there's 6 games left, so the Colts got
And there's 6 games left. So I just want people to understand that when you look at this Colts team, yeah, they're 6-5 right now, but don't get that schedule, don't get that record twisted. They are now a much better team than 6-5.
Yeah, and now the AFC South is back in play since Tennessee lost to the Houston Texans last week. So now they are sitting at 83. Colts are 6-5. The AFC South is very much in play. Tennessee, they got New England this week. Speaking of the preview, what else are you looking forward to in the preview?
I did not pull that up. Hold on. So let's see. Okay, so first of all, let's see Dallas get back on track against Vegas. I mean, this is it. If you're going to lose to Kansas City, luckily you have Vegas to fall back on and put your stuff back into perspective. So let's see if they can do that. Buffalo going into New Orleans. If you're going to lose the way you lost last week, New Orleans is a good team to bounce back from, especially with as good as Buffalo should be, not the way they have lost games here recently. But if you're going to win, this is a good team to come back on. One of my personal opinions, I think one of the best games that I'm going to be watching this weekend is Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. I think this one is a really good game. I think that it's going to be brutal out there. They are 2 chippy teams going against each other like this. That's going to be a good game. I'm really excited about the Tampa Bay Indiana game. That's going to be a good game. Both of those teams, definitely in playoff hunt and can really, really see who is on top of their game come watching that game. Tennessee, New England, man. Dude, if any indication of the past 4 weeks is anything, I see New England blowing them out. I know Derrick Henry is still not back, so I hope not. I hope that it's more of a game than what I think it's going to be, but it looks like New England might throw them a quick L. And then the last one would be the Seattle-Washington game. I think that's going to be a pretty good game. Don't expect much from, I'm not expecting anything for them. I know it's still middle of the season, but I don't expect anything from playoff indications from these two teams. But I think I would just say watch this one because you're going to get to see some good football.
So one thing I'll say about that the Dallas, going back to them against the Raiders. So Dallas loses, that's 4 losses, and now the NFC East becomes back in play because the Eagles are playing better. The WFTs, Team Generic, they're playing better too. They get a win against Seattle. They're 5-6. Now they've won 3 in a row. They beat Tampa Bay, they won in Carolina, and they would have beat Seattle. So just looking at that, this is a big game for Dallas specifically on Thanksgiving Day. They gotta beat the Raiders. Because now things start to become in play that weren't in play earlier. This is a good schedule. Like, there's a lot of places to go with this schedule. The Rams and Packers play each other this week too. And so that's going to be a good one, I think, up there in Lambeau Field. The Vikings and 49ers is a good one. You mentioned the Bucks and Colts, Titans and Patriots, Steelers and Bengals too. Yeah, this is a good Browns and Ravens. This is a good schedule. This is going to be a feast. So, so I look forward to all those games too, man. It should be fun.
I got my lines ready.
Yeah, there you go. Well, all right, Patrick. We gotta move on, man, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the Buffalo Bills. And the only thing really I wanted to say about the Bills is this: them getting beat 41-15 by the Indianapolis Colts at home. This spells the same issues that we talked about with the Los Angeles Rams last week. Now we'll see what the Rams do going up to Lambeau Field. Bills, of course, are going to New Orleans, like you pointed out. They couldn't run the ball, and they couldn't stop the run. That is a problem because that means you're getting physically dominated on both lines of scrimmage, or both sides of the lines of scrimmage. That was the same problem we talked about with the Rams, and that's the same thing that looked like it's happening to the Bills.
I like that, dude.
Oh, appreciate it.
I just noticed it.
Appreciate it. I'll hang it down a little bit more.
You need to let it grow all the way down. Right,
I might, man. You know, look, hey, and I told my mom, I said I'll probably cut the fro, man. I'll cut it at the beginning of the year.
Just trim it.
I might go bald and grow it on back, and then get some curls. I'm gonna do the Jerry curls.
Oh, you need.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Red in it right now, dude.
Just play it.
You put a Jerry curl in there. I might boycott this.
You're not boycotting this show.
No, but I'll think about it because you got
all right. No, what's your stance on the Bills, man?
This is a must win for them. If you go into New Orleans and you get dominated again, you have really got to start thinking about what's going on in the locker room, what's going on in that field, what's going on in players' heads. There is a problem that possibly could be brewing up. And if the Bills don't get that in check now, they're probably going to run into some issues. And they do not need to be running into any issues because, and I'm just going to pull it up real quick.
They got
so
the
Buffalo
Patriots.
is looking at. Hold on.
They got the Patriots twice.
Get your TV together with the best of live and direct TV streaming.
You were going to their schedule. They got the Patriots.
Going to their schedule, but I get all kinds of ads going on. Oh well. Anyway,
I got you. But they got the Patriots twice. That's the big thing.
Patriots twice, and that's not looking good for them. So, and I was wanting to go in and see, but I think they don't have one this week, but they got one next week with the Patriots, and I think it's 2 weeks after that. So you're looking at in the span of 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you're looking at the Patriots twice. You got to get some get right in your system before you go to New England and then get them at home, and you do not want to lose both of those games. Especially the one in Buffalo.
Yep. No, I'm with you. I think they go to. No, I was gonna say they go to LA to play the Chargers, but I forget what division they play. Oh, okay. So they play so they play the AFC South. So all right. So they already played Tennessee. I think they have a game with the Panthers coming up. Now, this is just off the top of my head. So I don't know for sure, but yeah, those 2 games with the Patriots are huge. And the Patriots, main thing with that, Patrick, the Patriots are physical on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
And Buffalo right now looks like I don't like using this word a whole bunch, but I'm going to use it here. Them and the Rams, they look like a finesse team, man. They look like a team. They look finesse. Like they just want to get 4 or 5 wides and want to throw the ball around, and then they want to try to get the lead quick, and so they can go and rush the passer. But you have to win, especially late November, early December, when you're about to get into the playoffs. You have to win physical battles in the line of scrimmage if you are going to win a championship. And if Buffalo is that team that a lot of people thought they were, this ain't going to get it done. Them getting good. I mean, Jonathan Taylor did anything he wanted against them. So Buffalo got
to get some get right.
Yeah,
that's what it is. They better get some get right and start moving the ball in the trenches because, like you said, come playoff time, I don't care what anybody says. It still holds true today. Offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. So you might want to start heeding to that.
All right, Patrick. So we're gonna jump into this topic, man. And this was why Patrick had kind of a shocked look on his face. We're gonna bring it up, and this is a story worth following because it can have all kinds of implications if things work out the way they might. Now, there is a tennis player from China. Her name's Ping Sui. I think I said that right. If I didn't, I apologize. But
and you got very close. So,
well, she's like I said, she's a tennis player from China, a successful doubles player, has had success in singles too. She alleged sexual allegations or sexual assault allegations against a former vice president of China. Let me see if I can get this dude's name on here real quick. Goodness, can't find it. Well, this was the former vice president, so of course very high. Okay, Shang Gaoli Gaoli, I think is his name. If I said that right, or excuse me, vice premier. So she leveled these allegations against him through her social media page. Like within 30 minutes to an hour, social media scrubbed, just gone, and nothing was showing up on her verified account, and then nobody had heard from her for 3 weeks. Now there's a few videos that have come out. And I guess she met with the IOC president. Now, Patrick, you and I both know how we feel about the IOC. That's one of the most corrupt organizations there is in the world.
1 of 4. I'm into the other 3. IRS being one of them.
But this is where it can get hairy. Now, first and foremost, we know how China's kind of a propaganda machine. How they kind of try to, they're a communist nation, so there's not really a lot of free speech going on in that nation. First and foremost, let's make sure Ping is okay and make sure she's fine, she's healthy. There's some videos that have came out of her smiling, I guess, and talking. We don't know when these videos were. We don't know when exactly all this stuff took place. And the IOC talked about them, but they're like, oh, man, she looks good. All right, she's okay. But here's the thing. The Women's Tennis Association is basically saying, look, we need to see more, or we are prepared to pull everything out of China. We're not going to deal with this. Now, this is a huge, huge thing. This is where it gets really, really huge. And I hate to say anything with money is why it is huge, but it's the world we live in.
It is.
And so, right. And so, with the Women's Tennis Association saying this, just think about this, Patrick. The IOC, of course, they're not going to say anything. What's happening in the next couple of months? The Winter Olympics. Mm-hmm. Where are the Winter Olympics going to be at? In Beijing, China's capital. So, of course, the IOC isn't trying to do anything to make some sort of a stance. Of course not. It's the IOC. Of course not. The NBA, they have had a chance to sit there. Do you remember when all that stuff came up with the former Houston Rockets general manager, Gerald Morey, taking a stance to get it, and then LeBron wants to chill. Don't do it. All right, but people are calling him out because of this, because of those statements that he and went back and made, basically saying you're just trying to put the money in front. And so a lot of these organizations out here, they wanted to act like they were going to be tough, but they weren't. Women's Tennis Association saying, keep this up. And if we don't see anything from her, from Ping Suai, nah, man, we're prepared to pull all that out. There's new stadiums being built and everything. Like you said, this is like billions of dollars that the Women's Tennis Association saying, no, we're willing to walk away from. So that's why I think this is definitely a story worth following. And you know us, we talk about like pretty much everything on this show. This did not, I wanted this not to get loose without us putting this on the radar. We're paying attention to this.
Absolutely, because I mean, you don't know, like you said, you don't know when those videos came out. One, those could have been way before she said anything. And we're talking about free speech, and let's be honest, man. In any country, people say something about somebody that they don't like, they end up missing, and then they're found months later in the bottom of with a nice pair of brick shoes on.
I mean,
it is what it is. So I mean, I hope that nothing has happened to her. I mean, that's the reason why I was so shocked, because honestly, I mean, the first thing I'd go to, she's dead. Point blank, she is dead. She is not going to be found for quite some time. And now the Chinese government is looking at going, oh crap, we already off this girl, and they're about to pull trillions out. And we can't, and we got to have that trillions, because that's how we hold. Well, that's how we hold it over America, because they own most of our land here anyway.
Yeah, a lot of business ventures.
A lot of business that China is needing that money for, and I guarantee you, I will tell you, it's probably, I think it's way over $1 billion. I think it's up into the trillions, and it's all because, yeah, I mean, my personal opinion, my first thought. That's the reason why I was so shocked. My first thought, she's dead. Especially with those kind of allegations, she's dead. And now they have no way to bring her back. Oh, well, I mean, there is cloning, but we'll see.
It's just something, you know, like I've been following it and just kind of looking at it, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. But the Women's Tennis Association saying we'll pull out of here, I thought that was a huge statement, because there's been many organizations who has had big business in China, particularly the NBA, and they talk tough, but at the end, bottom line, spoke louder.
But women's tennis, dude, they make a lot of money throughout the entire world. Remember that? Like, it's one of the biggest sports in all of the world. I mean, it in a lot of cases, it's bigger than football, because football is mostly over here. Tennis, you're talking like every country. They have 9 freaking championships throughout the entire world. So no, they can pull out of China and still be fine. That's what's crazy about the whole thing. It is the one sport they can say, we'll pull out and I'm fine with it, and still make trillions of dollars a year. Nah, that's interesting. But my first thought, she's dead.
Well, all right, Patrick. Well, on that note, man, it gets running a little hot, so we're gonna get on out. And that is what we are breathing on for this edition of the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. So y'all make sure y'all go to the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and keep the likes coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving, safe travels out there, and we will be back next week. I might put out a shorty. I don't know. Maybe I just want to take a break too. I don't know. But
let's just take a break for this week with the shorties, and we'll be back next week.
So yeah, everybody take care, be safe, enjoy the time with the family or friends or whoever you're hanging out with. Just be safe out there. Take care of each other, and we will talk soon. Take care. And once again, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.